Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So I'm recording this video today before the LEC, before the LCS starts today. I'm going to be uploading it after. So I won't know anything that happened in the LCS today, obviously. I'm not going to know what happened in the C900 Thieves game. I'm not going to know if C9 looked great, if they looked terrible. So hey, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what actually happened. If C9 wins, maybe LS was the problem. If C9 loses, maybe, oh, they need LS back, whatever. But I don't know what's going on, but I want to go over what happened yesterday anyway, because there were some recent comments by Fudge, not directly at LS, not directly regarding LS, but it's making some people wonder. It's making some people think. It's making some people speculate, hey, is Fudge dropping us some hints? Do we know a little bit more about the C9 and LS situation behind the scenes than we used to know now that Fudge came out and gave some statements on the whole thing? Either way, I think it's pretty interesting and pretty spicy to break down. So that's what we're going to be going over today, giving my thoughts and opinions on that. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this. I would appreciate it so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Channel's been going crazy lately. Spring split regular season in League of Legends is a usually pretty boring time. It's usually kind of a lull for my channel, but the fact that we've been popping off over the last month, getting a ton of subs, likes, views, all that stuff has been absolutely insane, and I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. But with that being said, let's get right into this one. So this is Fudge's post-game interview. Maybe you guys saw it. Some of you didn't. I know there's a lot of people that just watch the games. Once the Nexus explodes, they click off, and they don't really see a lot of the interviews. It's a time where you can go get a snack, go to the bathroom, go do something, because, a lot of us are sitting in front of our computer for like 10 hours a day when we watch LEC, then LCS. So if you didn't see this interview, totally do not blame you at all. But this was after the C9 Dignitas game. Obviously, C9 wins. Fudge has a really good Ari game, and Dignitas has been like a pretty solid team so far in the season, so it's not like an amazing win for Cloud9. It doesn't show that they're like, they're fine without LS, but it's a good win. It's building up some momentum, some morale, all that stuff. It's awesome. But then Fudge talked to Tigress on stage after the game, and I just want to go over what he says, let you guys hear what he has to say a little bit.
Most dapper casting duo of the day. I am joined for the Verizon post-game interview by Fudge. All right, so, last times you kind of picked up some champs on the fly. Soraka, a little easier to do. Now we get to see you on the Ari, which is interesting because a lot of mid laners have been so excited about this pick coming back. But what about your experience on this pick, preparing for her surgence in the meta?
I think Ari is obviously very strong in the meta. She's also very good at diving all the very immobile carries in general. So I was pretty happy that they picked Jace, Zoe, and Aphelios. Very easy for me to play the game. They had basically no kill pressure on me. The lane was very smooth, so I like Ari a lot. I like the resets as well. It makes me feel like Katarina a little bit.
Yeah, some really great positioning in the fights. The casters just talking about all across the lanes, Cloud9 was doing really well. From the interviews with Travis Gafford from both yourself and Max Waldo, commenting on the performance from C9 last week, you both said that it was less so about what was happening, more so reflective of things from scrims. How is practice going this week, with everything that has been going on, preparing on today?
We had a lot more meetings to prepare for our scrims, so we're very prepared, I would say. Despite it being a super week, I think super weeks are generally really chaotic because you have to play against 3 teams, you have to prepare against 3 different teams, but we prepared, I think, a lot better this week, and I think we're much more ready for the different things that other teams will play, and we're prepared to basically play all the champs that we actually played in scrims for once, so that's good.
And
So that is what Fudge had to say. And again, he doesn't say like, oh, LS had us unprepared, or oh, what LS was doing behind the scenes sucked, yada yada. But I think a lot of people are kind of inferring that from what he said. Not only the words he said, but the fact that he said it behind like a shit-eating grin or something. He as soon as she brought that up, he starts smiling. He's talking about just what's been going on. And this, like Lil Tiger said, this is exactly what Max Waldo was saying in his Travis Gafford interview as well. He was saying, obviously the LS getting fired and all the behind the scenes stuff, it's crazy, it's chaotic, maybe it's hard to deal with, maybe it's on the players' minds, whatever, but most of their issues last week, both Fudge and Max Waldo publicly attributed that to poor preparation, poor scrims, poor week of practice, all that stuff. And we didn't really know what that meant. Sometimes teams just have bad weeks of practice. Sometimes teams just have, weeks where it just seems like a lot of things aren't going right, or you have a bad read or whatever. But now, it really is seeming like they are talking more about what LS was having them do. Fudge talks about, hey, this week, even though it was a super week, we had to prepare for 3 teams. We had less days, less time. LCS isn't usually on Friday. They had what should have been a crazier, worse week just in general, a much harder week, was not only they weren't even able to keep it similar to last week, they were able to do better than last week. Preparing for 3 teams, less time, less days, more craziness, more chaotic, and this is a hard week for C9. I mean, if you look at the team C9 is playing, yes, they played Dignitas today, and maybe they're not the greatest team, but Dignitas is solid. Then they play 100 Thieves and FlyQuest. These are 2 of the better teams in the league right now. This should be a very, very tough week for C9. But the fact that Fudge is still saying, not only did we have preparation as good as other weeks, we had better preparation going into a super week than we did these other weeks. I do think that is taking a dig. I do think that is taking a shot at LS. And not only that, I think it is peeling back the curtain a little bit to some of the issues, or maybe even all of the issues that C9 and LS were having behind the scenes that players did not love and players did not like. The things that LS was doing. Yes, by the time they got to stage, they were surprising teams. They had some interesting drafts. They had some interesting picks, but obviously the players didn't really appreciate, one, how many different champions they had to know in practice, the fact that they didn't feel prepared for, like Fudge is saying, what the other teams were actually going to play and do, and that they were being asked to, first-time stuff on stage, or pick up something an hour before they walked out on stage or whatever. And yes, like everyone's saying, it did work out. C9 was 3-1, but I do think it's very, very interesting, and I got a comment about this, that LS is a very vocal proponent of not doing results-based analysis, but now all of a sudden all the LS fans want to come out of the woodworks and tell you how C9 went 3-1. And I think there's a ton of variables that play into why C9 went 3-1. 1, I think they're a pretty good team. 2, a lot of people are talking about their big win against Evil Geniuses, and Evil Geniuses hasn't been that great to start the season, so now I think that win is looking, less and less good. If we look at the LCS standings right now, obviously Evil Geniuses is 2-4. Was that amazing of a win that they picked up over Evil Geniuses? Maybe, maybe not. Also, it's early season, spring split, regular season, best of ones, very volatile. Best of ones where anything can happen. Going 3-1 in best of ones really doesn't mean that much. You're a sixth of the way through the season. Also, obviously, C9 was pulling out surprising picks, cheese picks, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, people, LS fans will call it, amazing picks, big brain picks, whatever. But it did catch people off guard to some extent. Now, would those same picks still catch people off guard in week 6? Would they still catch people off guard in spring playoffs? Would they still catch people off guard summer playoffs, summer regular season, week 11, 12 of the season? Are those picks still going to have the same novelty? There's only so many times you can catch people off guard, and especially early spring split regular season, so many of the teams are working on themselves. They're working on leveling up their own game. They're working on developing an identity, developing synergy. Even if you think C9 is going to pull out some crazy big brain LS draft, you're probably not going to prepare for it too much in week 1 of the spring split regular season, because 1, you just don't have time. You're working on enough of your own issues. 2, you don't really care because everyone says how meaningless spring split regular season is. Probably even C9 themselves would say that. Yet, time and time again, we're just hearing how, C9 screwed without LS. LS had this team 3-1, yada, yada, yada. This is a talented roster. And anyway, being 3-1 didn't really matter. So far, they're 2-1 without him. Hey, I don't know. I really do think people are overreacting a lot. But obviously, the C9 subreddit was kind of on the same page as me. They said, hey, a little more leak from the Fudge interview. Did it seem to anyone else like the comment about being the most prepped for this week was a small insight into one of the potential reasons for the LS release? Maybe Fudge and the others did not appreciate the lack of preparation and style of preparation that LS was bringing week by week. I doubt this was the only reason, as it seems like something that could be worked through. But maybe it couldn't. And yeah, maybe it couldn't. Maybe LS was unwilling to change. Maybe the players were just getting fed up. Maybe they had conversations and things weren't getting better. I'm pretty sure Berserker had a public statement too about how the style and the preparation stuff they were doing was just very, very difficult. To know all the different champions and to be so unprepared and stuff. And I don't blame the players for being upset with that. Yes, you do want to, hey, we want to make the best picks. We want to win games. We want to do all that stuff. But also, the players are putting their own reputation and future on the line. When you ask Fudge to go out there and first time a champion that he's played never before or played once or twice in a 1v1 before or something like that, he's risking his own career and reputation. You know, he has to go out on stage in front of all the other teams, other scouts, fans, all this stuff. And if he runs it down, he's the one that's going to get flamed. He's the one that's going to look bad. This is potentially going to hurt his future and his career as a mid laner, as a professional player, whatever. It's going to hurt how people think of him. It could hurt his brand. It could even hurt, you know, if you do it enough, if he just kind of plays bad over and over again on some of these picks, it could hurt, you know, his career and stuff going forward. And that's not great. And players don't love that, especially some of these new players coming over. I'm sure like Berserker and Summit and stuff that they want to make a good impression with North America. They want to win. They want to enjoy their time. Like, they probably don't want to, you know, risk everything, especially if they think they're a good team already. They can probably, you know, play some stuff normally. Or if you do think these are the best picks or whatever, why are you not practicing them the week before these games? Why are you practicing other stuff and then first timing Soraka on stage? I don't know. There is a ton back and forth. Obviously, LS has good ideas. You know, he did some stuff that was working. He had, you know, a good read on some stuff, but if the players don't like it, if the organization isn't buying into it, if things are going wrong, if people are getting mad, people are getting upset, people are feeling unprepared, that has to matter too. And again, we only saw 2 weeks of this. We don't know how this was going to hold up the whole season in terms of players being happy, player mental. Were the picks even going to keep working? Were the drafts even going to keep working? You know, who knows? Especially as the meta changes, patches come in. A lot of stuff to think about here. But again, obviously people were kind of speculating about this stuff. But yeah, maybe Fudge and the others did not appreciate the lack of preparation and style of preparation Ellis was bringing week by week. I doubt this was the only reason, as it seems like something could be done to work that out. As much of a meme that it became in the short moment, maybe Fudge really didn't appreciate having to learn a new pick in such a short time. Then again, that could have been just a different champ in the same strat, so I may be grasping at that specific example. So, you know, there are other people talking about this. Obviously, this was highly upvoted. Doesn't mean that's necessarily true, but I think it is kind of a fair assumption to make that, hey, he might have been taking a little dig at LS. He might have been taking a little shot. And I don't think he's like saying he hates LS or LS sucks or whatever, because obviously I think Fudge and LS are friends. I think they have a good relationship. But that doesn't mean that Fudge can't feel better about the team now, or that he can't feel better prepared now, or that he has to love everything that LS did, or he can't be happy about what Max Waldo's doing now. And overall, again, I really do think all the people saying C9 is finished, they're screwed, they suck, they're not making it to Worlds or whatever, I think those are doomers. I think C9 is going to be okay. I still think they have a really, really awesome roster. Max Waldo is obviously like an LS disciple or whatever. They're going to have similar ideas. They're going to do similar things. Max Waldo just might do it in a like better, more team-friendly way, or in a way that makes more sense. Obviously, LS doesn't do everything perfect. He didn't, you know, have the whole coaching thing down to a T. And maybe LS's system would work with a different org, different players, different team. Who knows? But I still think C9 has a very, very bright future ahead of them, and I'm still really excited about this roster. But I do appreciate Fudge, you know, dropping us some breadcrumbs and giving us something to talk about. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. Do you think Fudge is, you know, talking about LS here? Or do you think, hey, we're reaching, this has nothing to do with that? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.